Hey lovelies, it's your girl here Joanne. Today I'll be showing you how to cut and sew this trendy short bubu gown with a fancy collar and a turn-up sleeve. Trust me, this tutorial is going to be very detailed. So if you're interested in something like this, stick around and watch this video to the end. Don't forget to like and share and subscribe if you haven't done that yet. So without wasting much of your time, let's dive into the tutorial. Welcome back. This is the fabric I'll be using for this tutorial and it's an African print. It's about 3 yards, although I'll end up using 2.5 yards. So 2.5 yards is fine, okay, for this tutorial since it's a short dress. So this is another fabric I'll be using to combine to the African print, and it's a doll face, right? So this is half yard each, and it will be fine to make the collar and the sleeve. So let's go to the cutting table. I've already laid the fabric right sides facing each other, and I'm going to begin the measurements. I'm cutting both the front and the back together. So what I'm doing now is to indicate the starting point. This is where I'll begin the measurement, taking the measurement, okay? Any measurement I'm going to be taking vertically will be from this line that I'm marking right now. So on the starting point line, which is now my shoulder measurement, I'm going to be taking my shoulder measurement now, okay? So my shoulder is 16 inches. 16 inches divided by 2 would give me 8 inches, okay? So from 8 inches, I will now take my sleeve length, all right? So for the sleeve length, I'm going in by 8.5 inches, okay? I'll be using that 0.5 inch for stitching allowance when I'm going to be turning up the sleeve, okay? So now for the shoulder slope, I'm going down by 1 inch, and I'm now going to mark my neck depth, my neck width, which is 3 inches. So from 3 inches, I'm going to be connecting from my shoulder slope to the 3 inches. This, what I'm doing here, is totally optional. So if you're using a lighter matte fabric for this, you don't really have to do this, okay? But if you're using an Ankara fabric or African print, you have to do this, okay? So for the neck depth, I'm going to be coming down by 3 inches. So from 3 inches, I'm going to be connecting it back to my neck width. So I'm going to take the back measurement. Remember, we are cutting both the front and the back together. So this is the back neck measurement. Now I'm coming down by 1 inch. I connected it back to 3 inches neck depth, as you can see. I'm now going to take my sleeve length, which would be 11 inches. So I'm going to be adding 0.5 inch for stitching allowance, okay? I'm coming down by 11 inches and 0.5 inch plus 0.5 inch for stitching allowance, and I'm ruling that line across. This line, this is now going to serve as my bust line. Hope you understand what I mean. So I'm taking my waist measurement now, the length of my waist, which is 17 inches. So from 17 inches, I'm going to now rule that line across, okay? Then I'm going to rule the bust line also across. So next thing I'll do now is that on the waistline, I'm going to come down by 8.5 inches, okay? This is the standard measurement for me. For you, if your hip is bigger, you can go down by 9 inches. But if you have a smaller hip, you can also go up by 8 inches, all right? So it's totally what you measure your hip to know the length of your hip, okay? So next thing I'll be doing now is to take the length of my dress, which is 39 inches plus 1 inch for hemming allowance. I'm going to now rule that line across, okay? My entire measurement now is 39 inches. You know, I added 1 inch stitching allowance or hemming allowance. After hemming it, it will now be 39 inches. I hope you understand. So next thing I'll do is to come over to where I have the shoulder measurements. I'm going to be measuring the entire measurement from the neck down to my shoulder slope, and I'm going to repeat that measurement on the bust line. So from there, I'm going to be coming in by 1 inch, all right, because I don't want this my sleeve to be entirely straight. I want it to have be a bit slanty so that after wearing it, the shape will come out very nice. So I'm connecting it back to my shoulder, all right. So next thing I'll do now is to take the bust measurements. So my bust is 36.5 inches divided by 4, and whatever I have, I imputed that on as my bust measurement, and I'm going to be adding extra 3 inches for ease. Okay, that will be my ease allowance. All right, so on the waist measurement, I have my waist measurement is 30 inches divided by 4, and whatever I also imputed and I added extra 3 inches for ease, since it's a Bubu dress. All right, so on the hip, I'm going to be taking my hip measurement divided by 4 and added extra 3 inches allowance for ease. All right, then for the hemline, I'm going to be taking the entire measurement on the hip. Whatever I had, that was 13 inches, 13.5 inches. I'm going to be imputing that as my hem measurement. Okay, so I'm going to be connecting it from the hem up to the hip, then just connect the lines. All right.
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We ride.
So for what I just did here is that, we cannot have that sharp point along the armpit, so we have to give it a slanty, a curvy shape. Okay, that's why I curved that part. If you don't curve it, the shape will be looking somehow, so you really must do that. And on the shoulder, I went up by half of an inch, or 0.5 inch. That will serve as my stitching allowance. So we are now going to cut out this dress. Okay, starting from the back neck. We are not cutting the front neck yet. Okay, we are cutting the back neck because we are still going to work on the front neckline. So I'm doing my cutting right now.
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the.
So after I was done with the cutting, I took off the back from the front piece. Okay, I'm going to keep the back piece away for now. I'm done with the back piece. Okay, when it has to do with cutting, I'm done with the back piece. Whatever adjustment we are going to be making will be on the front piece. Okay, so on the neckline, for the collar, I'm coming down by, for the pocket rather, I'm coming down by 18 inches. That will be where I'm going to be placing my pocket. Okay, so when we get to that part, I'm going to be showing you what to do. So next thing I'll do is on my waistline, that is where the collar will end. I'm going to be coming in by 1.5 inches, then I'll connect it back to my neck width. So after this, I'm now going to cut it out. Okay, I'm going to be cutting it like so. All right.
Our hearts beat to the city streets.
So this is how it is. I'm now going to open this up for you to see how it is. Okay, so this is how it is. This is the front piece, what we just cut out. This is how it is. This is how it's looking. I'm now going to bring the back piece to join to the front piece, right sides facing each other, because I'm going to be sewing the shoulder. So I'm going to pin the shoulder now and be sewing by 0.5 inch. Remember, we added 0.5 inch.
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire.
So this is after I was done sewing the shoulder. Okay, this is it. I've already turned right side facing up, facing me, and this is how the shoulder is looking. I went ahead to press it with my iron. Okay, and it's looking very neat. And now I'm going to put the front piece together like so. wrong sides facing each other, because I'm going to be measuring this neckline. Okay, so I'm taking the back neck measurement right now, and it's about 7.05 inches. Okay, so after that, I'm going to be taking the front neckline. So from the shoulder, I'm going to place my tape right on the shoulder line, and I'm going to measure all the way down to where I have the cutting for my collar. And whatever I am going to be taking as a measurement there, I'm going to be adding up with what I had for the neck, and I'm going to be cutting my strip, but I'm going to be adding extra 5 inches or 4 inches seam allowance just to be on the safe side. I don't want to run short of anything, any fabric. Okay, so next thing I'll be measuring my strip, which is 5 inches in width, and if you fold it, it's going to be 2.5 inches. Hope you understand. I'm now going to iron these strips. This will be for my collar. Okay,
Our hearts beat to the city.
so guys, I'm so sorry, it's raining. That's why you're hearing this noise. Okay, that's why the background noise is so obvious. I'm so sorry about that. Please bear with me. So this is the strip, okay, that I'm done ironing, and this is how it is. I've already opened it up and placed the right sides facing each other, and I'm now going to use my pin to hold it in place. I'm working with a fabric that is a bit light. Okay, so that is why whatever I'm doing, I'm going to be using my pin to help keep it in place. Okay, so if you have a crepe material, definitely you can use it for this purpose. Okay, it will also come out very fine. So I'm going to be sewing this by 0.5 inch. It means I'm joining the two colors, okay, together, the two strips together. Based on how the style is, you have to do this. Okay, if you're going for this style, you have to do what I'm doing. So this is how it is, and it's looking very fine. So where I have the joining, I'm going to open that up, and I'm going to be placing right sides facing each other as well. And this is how it is. Okay, the yellow color and the yellow fabric is facing the blue fabric. Okay, so I'm now going to use my pin and help place it, keep it in place. But before that, I'm going to be taking the back neck measurement. Initially I measured about 7 inches, right? So I'm going to be taking that measurement right there. Okay, so from there I'm going to be taking my from the 7 inches measurement, that is 3.5 inch. This fabric is on fold. If I open it, it will be 7 inches. So from there I'm going to be taking my neck depth, my front neck depth. Depends on what you want, but I came down by 10 inches. So 10 inches is completely fine by me. You can do 11 inches, 12 inches, depends on how revealing you want your garments to be. Okay, but 10 inches is totally fine by me. You can also go up if you like. So from that point where I marked my 10 inches, I'm going to be sewing it all the way down. So after sewing, this is what I had. Okay, it's looking very neat already. I've not ironed it yet, and it's looking very neat. I'm going to now open it up and place it. See the way I'm opening it up? Place the yellow facing the yellow and the blue facing the blue, like this. And if I open it and turn it up right facing me, it's looking very neat and fine. As you can see, the color is ready. Okay, so next thing I'll do is to iron this. Okay, whatever you're sewing, please iron it. It's very important. Iron it, iron your fabric. Okay, especially if you're working with stuffs like this, materials like this, you really have to iron them, right? So next thing now, I'm going to be attaching the collar to the front of my fabric. All right, I'll bring the front right away, and I'm going to be notching where I have the midpoint of my back neckline. I've already notched that, as you can see, and I'm going to be placing where I have this joining. I'm going to be placing it exactly where I notched. All right, so I'm placing the cape or the collar on the right side of the fabric. Okay, on the joining, I'm placing it where I notched. This will help me to keep the collar in place, to help me know that I am in the right track. Okay, so if you cannot just fix the collar anyhow. All right, you have to notch, like you can see, you have to notch, place the joining there. Okay, and pin you have to pin around. I'm going to be pinning this collar all around the fabric, the main fabric. Please, while at it, take your time to do this because you will not want to your collar to come out twisted. Okay, so take your time and do this. Don't be in a rush while you're doing this.
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals they take us higher. The night's young and it's just begun as she puts her hand in mine. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be two hearts running wild.
So guys, I'm done placing the collar to the main fabric, and now I'm going to be to place this part that I cut out along the waistline. All right, so I'm going to be placing it together, make it align like so, because I'm going to be measuring 0.5 inch basically around the corner where my hand is, okay, where my finger is. I am going to be measuring 0.5 inch there. Like you can see how I am marking that part. Let me show you guys very well how I'm marking that part. So I noticed that I really did not get that corner very well, so I also marked 0.5 inch around this area because it will enable me get that particular corner that I want, because at the end of the day I'll be slitting like so with my scissors. Okay, this what I'm doing now will help me when I'm sewing the collar. So I've opened it up for you to see how it is. Okay, I'm now going to align the collar to the main fabric, and I'm going to use my pin to help place the collar and the fabric in place, right? So this is how it is when I'm sewing. As I'm sewing all the way from the neckline, I'm going to be making a top stitch around that corner. Okay, I'm not going to exceed that part that I slit out. I'm going to sew and stop there. Okay, this is where I'll stop, right? So now I'm going to go over to my machine and start sewing. So after I was done sewing, this is what I have, okay, and it's looking very neat already. If you don't pin your collar down, it will be looking taggy and it will be twisting and you will not like the outcome. So I advise you pin your collar around on your fabric before stitching. So now I tucked in the remaining part of the collar inside. Okay, I tucked it in, and now I'm going to be, this is the part I cut out, I slit, right? So I'm now going to fold it in, use my iron it very well. Okay, me ironing it will help me, it will help me when I'm sewing it. So I am going to iron it and also use my pin now to place both the fabric, both the collar and the fabric. All right, so I'm cutting out the excess collar right now. I won't be needing it. Also, after stitching, I'm going to be cutting out the other excess that is left. So right now I'm trying to pin the fabric to the collar, as you can see, okay, on the allowance. I'm not going to exceed the allowance when I'm stitching. So I'm going to show you guys how you're going to be stitching it. All right, so this is how you're going to stitch it right on the allowance. Okay, don't mind the excess fabric, I'm going to cut it out. So this is it after stitching, and this is how it's looking, guys. It's looking very neat and beautiful. As you can see, everything is in place. Right now I'm going to turn up the sleeve. So I earlier on I cut out a long strip for the sleeve, and sorry I did that off camera, but I'm going to be telling you how I did cut it out. So if I open it up, it's going to be 4 inches. I cut it by unfold. I cut it on fold, that is 4 inches width. So on fold it was 2 inches. Okay, so and I cut a long strip. I did not really have a measurement, but just measure the sleeve, your sleeve. Okay, you can add extra 2 inches seam allowance, and I'm going to be placing these right sides facing the wrong side of the sleeve.
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as
So after pinning this down, I'm going to be sewing it round, all around like so, okay, by 0.5 inch. Remember, while I was cutting this, I added 0.5 inch for stitching allowance. So after that, I'm going to turn this over, okay, turn the blue fabric over to the main fabric, and I'm going to be stitching this down. All right, just make a tiny stitch, okay, stitch it around. Then I had to cut the fabric for the pocket off camera. I'm sorry about this, guys. It's because of time, for the sake of time, and I'm going to be cutting the pocket as freehand. Please bear with me. I cut these four pieces, okay, right sides, two right sides facing each other, and the other two right sides facing each other. So I'm going to be measuring 8 inches for the pocket and extra 1 inch for allowance. That is, I'm going to be using half inch for the top part and half inch for the down part. I hope you understand when I'm stitching it to the dress. So if you're wondering how I did this, place your hand on the fabric, okay, as if you're putting your hand inside your pocket. Place your hand and mark around, leave some inches, okay, some allowances, that whenever you're putting your hand inside the pocket, it will be free for you, okay, to move your hand about. Okay, so this is how I'm going to be cutting this out, and afterwards I'm going to be showing you guys how I'm going to be sewing this to the main fabric.
our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel.
So this is the main fabric. Earlier I had measured from the shoulder, I had measured 18 inches. That is where I will begin placing my pocket, okay, that is where my pocket will start from, like so. I'm going to be placing right sides, facing the right side of the main fabric, and I'm going to be placing it and like so, and I'm going to pin it down, okay. You have to pin it down to help the pocket stay in place. All right.
Our hearts beat to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings.
So this is how you're going to be sewing it. Place the right sides of the fabric facing each other and place everything, make sure everything aligns, and sew by the allowance that you kept, okay. For me, the allowance I'm going to be using to sew this will be 0.5 inch. I'm going to be sewing it all around, sew around the pockets like so, and from there make sure everything stays in place, and I'm going to be sewing from the pocket to the hemline. So after I was done sewing, this is the outcome, and guys, this is looking very beautiful, okay. I'm going to be showing you the pockets. See the way the pocket is, the pocket is in place, is staying in place, all right. And see the way it is. I have not ironed this yet, and it's looking so fine already. See the other pocket, okay, it's looking very, very beautiful, as you can see. So at this point I am going to hem this, okay, by 1 inch. Remember, I kept 1 inch for hemming, and I'm going to use exactly that. All right, so at this point we have come to the end of this tutorial, and I'm so excited to be here with you guys. Make this dress, comment, like, and share this video. Thank you so much for sticking around and for being with me. See you guys in my next one. Bye.